Hello, everyone. Thanks for joining for today's 1 hour free webinar hosted by Prevention Plus Wellness LLC, located here in beautiful St. Augustine, Florida. It's a very nice day today, nice and warm and sunny, and I hope it's nice where you're at. Thank you for joining us, given the fact that it's July, and I know many people are out on vacation enjoying some time off, which they well deserve, all you prevention and health specialists. So those of you that are joining us, I really, really appreciate it. And thank you for taking time to be with us. So this webinar, we gave this webinar a couple, 3 weeks ago, but there's been quite a few changes actually in that time. So we've reorganized it. So there's some additions, and then also we've put it in a we've put it in a format so I think it's easier for all of you prevention and health professionals to understand what we have to offer in terms of our youth and parent programs, our media campaigns, our training, our licenses. So it's all laid out very nicely for you. By the way, if you are going to be at the CADCA mid-year conference in Orlando, that starts next week, Sunday, I believe. Please do look us up. We'll be at a booth there, or at, I guess they call them tables. So check us out, Prevention Plus Wellness, at a table at the CADCA conference. For those of you in Florida, I think in August, there's a statewide behavioral health conference. We'll be there exhibiting, so please visit us there. And let us know what other conferences that you'll be attending. So maybe we could show up there and say hi to you and have a face-to-face chat. So let us know what prevention and health conferences you'll be going to over the next 3 or 4 months. And you could just type those in the chat space. All right, so you can see today's topic. Let's take a look at the objectives. There's 3 of them today. We're going to have you be able to list both the one and the multi-session youth and parent programs that PPW offers, as well as our media campaigns, our professional training, our license opportunities, all of those things that we offer at Prevention Plus Wellness. Then we're going to review the components and the materials for these programs, media campaigns, and training. And we will, in this process, discuss how prevention and health providers across the country and abroad are implementing some of these materials in their settings. They're being implemented in all 50 states and in schools and out of schools, wherever there's youth. And we have programs for elementary school youth, middle school youth, which are young adolescents, older adolescents in high school, and young adults. So that whole developmental range we have programs and materials for, as well as for parents. Now, just so that you know, this is being recorded. So at the end of this session, I will be sending everyone who's registered a link to this recorded webinar. I will be sending you these slides. So you'll get these slides to be able to review and share with others in your organization, in your region. And you'll get a certificate for 1 hour CE, okay? If you need anything else, find your chat option and type that in. And at any time, if you have a question or you have a comment as we go along today, we'll spend as much as an hour, probably less, because I'll be rattling through this, I think, pretty quickly and let you guys take a look at the materials, some of them at least on your own. So let's start, first of all, with PPW programs, and let's take a look at the one session program. So really very unique. These programs are based on an evidence-based practices format, screening and brief intervention. That's how they can be only a single session and yet also be effective, not just in preventing substance use, but also promoting healthy lifestyle behavior. So let's start with number 1. Sport is our original program, alcohol, drug, PPW, that's Prevention Plus Wellness. We have high school, middle school, and elementary school versions. After that, our second evidence-based program, InShape, PPW, which is for young adults. Then we have adaptations of those 2 programs, or modifications or spinoffs, if you will. These are also, all of these use the evidence-based practices, screening and brief intervention format, but these other programs have not been fully evaluated. So that's why we oftentimes refer them as evidence-informed versus evidence-based. And they include number 3, the vaping, which is our e-cigarette PPW program, high school, middle school, and elementary school versions. Same with marijuana PPW, high school, middle school, elementary school versions. Number 5, we've got an opioid prevention plus wellness program. Here we've got a version for adolescents as well as a version for high-risk young men and high-risk young women. This is all out of the recommendations from SAMHSA, the Substance Abuse Mental Health Services Administration, which has identified adolescents and young men and young women as high risk for misuse of opioids. After that, we've got number 6, we've got the sport program, the adolescent program in a video format. So all these other programs are in a manual format. They come in a physical manual with a script to implement them to youth individually, as well as a script to implement them in a group, and a digital download of PowerPoint slides and all your reproducible materials. But number 6, here you've got sport in a video. So really dynamic images of youth engaged in these healthy behaviors that PPW programs promote: physical activity and sports, healthy breakfast and nutrition, sleep, stress control. It's amazing video. And the program is in a video format, so you don't need a manual. And so we created this program so it's actually easier to implement, maybe in some situations like juvenile justice, or you have coaches or whatever. They don't want to use a manual, they don't want to learn the script, so you show the video. So that's the Sport PPW video program for classroom use. Number 7, we have a racial justice program. Why racial justice? You may ask yourselves. Why would Prevention Plus Wellness be dealing with that? It's because research shows that racial discrimination is a risk factor for youth to misuse substance use. So that's why we address racial injustice, racial discrimination, and try to address that with youth, within their communities, their schools, online, etc. Really good program. In God's Image is a spiritual-based program. You could ask the question again, why spirituality? Spirituality and religiosity are both actually protective factors for substance misuse. So that program in God's Image is actually free. Just go onto our website, preventionpluswellness.com, and find that under our programs list in God's Image. Put your contact information in, and you'll get a download of that program for free. And lastly, and most recently, the PPW Goal Plan Tracking Program. It's an online program. It allows you as the instructor to follow your youth for up to a month later, every day and every week, every day in terms of their goal monitoring, every week in terms of setting new goals beyond any of these programs that you might be implementing. So what do I mean by that? If you implement sport, one session program, then you can register them for the PPW Goal Plan Tracking Program. The youth will get a notification to their email, they'll register, and then you could follow them and remind them to continue to track their daily goals that they set from your session, whether your initial session was sport or in shape or vaping PPW, marijuana PPW, whatever. You can use this number 9, this Goal Plan Tracking Program, to continue to keep an eye on your, if you will, online eye on your youth and your participating students, and ensure that they develop those self-regulation skills and self-efficacy to set goals, monitor goals, and achieve behavior goals, which includes avoiding substance use and increasing healthy habits. So that's the new program number 9 that can be in addition to any programs 1 through 8. Okay, that makes sense. If you have any questions, type it in that chat space. I'll be happy to answer it. Let's take a look at each of these programs in that order, starting with sport. There's the cover of the manual of sport, elementary school, middle school, high school, from left to right. And here's a little bit more of a description of the Sport PPW program. It's evidence-based. We've had, I think 5 studies now, different versions of studies that looked at. And if you summarize all the findings, you'll note that a Sport PPW single session program has been effective in preventing and reducing alcohol use, tobacco use, cannabis use, and increasing physical activity among both general population youth as well as substance using youth. So that's why a lot of organizations across the country will use our programs as a universal prevention intervention, as well as selective or indicative prevention. In other words, with high-risk youth, maybe kids that are caught using on school campus, et cetera. Number 2, sport targets alcohol and other drug use, primarily alcohol use. And it also targets the promotion of physical activity in sports, breakfast and nutrition, sleep and stress control. It's a single session. It can be implemented in as little as I've seen 40 minutes, but you could extend that certainly beyond that. It's screening and brief intervention, and it's implemented with slides. You show your slides, you read your script in your manual, very, very easy, straightforward, and it integrates all these behaviors together. And that's done through the number 6, the behavior image model. Targets these positive images. We use positive image terms that are highly motivational, and they cue unconscious images of youth, of themselves in the future, being more fit and active and healthy and successful and popular. All these things youth want, we want this for our youth. And this is an unconscious process, and that increases motivation. And then we show how these healthy behaviors like physical activity are actually harmed by alcohol use in the sport program or marijuana use in the marijuana PPW program. So that's how these behaviors are linked in prevention plus wellness programs. You got number 7, an optional set of 4 peer flyers and introductory letter to parents. That's a separate intervention altogether, which is, we did a study of, and those have been found to be effective prevention tools. And you get a manual plus reproducible material, so you can make copies of all your screening surveys, your goal plans, your parent flyers, et cetera. And so all you really need is a purchase of your program. Comes with your manual, your digital download, and then you as the instructor can implement this program to countless youth for as long as you want. And we also have online protocols built within the slides if, God forbid, you need to implement this virtually on Zoom or Microsoft Teams or whatever because of the pandemic, or for whatever reason you want. You could implement this in person as well as online. Any questions about sport? Let me know. Type it in the chat space or the Q&A. Let's take a look at the table of contents of the sport manual. You can see that there's 8 sections or chapters here. Number 1 is introduction. Number 2, step-by-step directions for implementation. Although we highly recommend taking a training, and we have our training online, very easy, very simple, and you'll really get much more out of your program if you take the training. The training is very brief. It's approximately 2 hours, self-paced, very simple. A little bit more about that later. Number 3, you get a screening survey and goal plan, because this is an evidence-based practices screening and brief intervention. That comes with a screening survey as well as a goal plan. You get individual feedback lesson under section 4. You've got the group feedback lesson script under section 5. It's scripted. So all you have to do is practice the script aloud, and then once you feel comfortable, implement it with your slides to your youth. Very, very easy and quick and brief. And so you can really reach almost all youth and have a real public health reach with your PPW program. Sport PPW comes with evaluation materials. All of our programs do. So you can evaluate the pre-post outcomes, quality of implementation, fidelity, all these things are included in evaluation materials. You've got to follow parent flyers, as I mentioned, which can be handed out to your youth or mailed out, snail mail or emailed or put on your website, whatever you want to do. That's number 7, the parent flyers. And lastly, there's a link to an online goal plan if you want to give that to youth to continue the process of goal setting. So All Prevention Plus Wellness programs follow this 3-step evidence-based screening and brief intervention process. Step 1, you screen youth for their health behaviors. That could be alcohol or marijuana or e-cigarettes or opioids, plus healthy behaviors, physical activity, nutrition, sleep, breakfast, stress control. That increases their awareness of their health habits. Very important. Step number 2, you provide feedback on each of those behaviors. Again, alcohol or cannabis or e-cigarettes, but also physical activity, sleep, nutrition, etc. And during this, you present positive image terms, positive image illustrations. You link how substance use is harmful or counterproductive to achieving the benefits of these healthy behaviors, including improving how they feel and look in the future. That's feedback, number 2. And number 3, you then, this is the action piece, you have them set a goal. It's a contract you make with them that increases the motivation for change. That contract is to avoid substance use and to improve one or more health behaviors. And together, this improves a broader physical and mental health of young people. So very, very important. This last step, 3rd step, goal setting, is the action piece. This is where youth will over time learn self-regulation skills and improve self-efficacy to start shaping their own behaviors. That's a 3-step process all PPW programs use. The sport programs include these items here, 1 through 7, and then more I'll show you. There's implementation directions, there's the screening survey, there's scripts for providing your lesson to youth one-on-one or in a group. There's your colorful slides, your goal plan, contract. You've got online and paper pre and post surveys to evaluate immediate outcomes on risk and protective factors. You have an instructor survey to assess the quality of each lesson implemented. And then now on to item 8 to 15, you get a fidelity checklist to ensure the program is implemented with fidelity. You've got a letter and 4 flyers for parents if you want to use that. That's an optional intervention. There's a phone protocol if you want to call parents to see if they've received the flyers. Follow-up goal plan link under number 12. Online resources on our website, preventionpluswellness.com, under the heading of resources. By the way, you don't have to purchase this program to look at this. You can go right now to preventionpluswellness.com and look at the menu, find resources, and then see a bunch of free resources that you can use today. We pride ourselves in giving phone and email and even online support of other types, conferencing, etc., to ensure that your programs are implemented and you as a professional have positive outcomes and enjoy it. Your youth enjoy it, parents are happy, and it's a really good experience for everybody. And you have separate online and on-site certified training, which we really recommend. You get trained as an implementer, and then you can implement your program as a certified implementer for up to 3 years. All right, that was sport. Now we're going to shift over to InShape. Is any of this information available in Spanish? I'm just looking at Lydia's. Yes, it is. Lydia, thank you for asking it. So we do have right now, if you go back to sport, the sport flyers that go to the parents, those are in Spanish. We can give you a copy of those. And we've translated the sport middle school program. That's the one in the middle there, the green one. That whole thing is in Spanish, the slides and the whole thing. And we're planning on translating others into Spanish. So Lydia, if you're interested in purchasing a program, let's say you're interested and you want the sport high school version in Spanish, then just contact us, let us know, and then we'll get going on making sure that that's translated right away for you. So we're sort of waiting to hear from our customers. And if there's a need, we'll get that done. And if not, we'll sort of hold off on it. So we've been receiving the greatest number of requests for the sport middle school. That's why we've already translated it and it's available in Spanish. But we're thinking of our other programs. So you can, I'm not sure that they're listed on our website, but you could email me, for example, at info@preventionpluswellness.com. Say you would like to purchase sport, high school, elementary, whatever, in Spanish, and then we'll get that done for you. And it'll take, a couple weeks. So, just keep that in mind, but we'll get that done for you and then make that available to you. Okay. I hope that was helpful. That was a good question. That was Lydia. Also, this is Lydia Reyes Flores from Latino Family Services. Thank you. You're welcome. Thank you very much for that question, Lydia. So we're looking at now In Shape. That's our young adult program, evidence-based, alcohol and drug. It's been shown to prevent alcohol, cannabis, drinking and driving, increases physical activity, sleep, health-related quality of life, really good outcomes among young adults. It's being used in college settings, community settings, even the U.S. Air Force base in Washington is using it. So lots of adaptations of the In Shape PPW program. It targets alcohol and tobacco, physical activity, healthy nutrition, sleep and stress control. Single session is a little longer than sport. It can be implemented under 60 minutes, brief screening and brief intervention. You show your slides, you get a script, you get a manual with a script to implement it to youth, young adults, I should say, individually or in a group. Again, based on the behavior image model, using these positive images to increase motivation for change. And it comes with a digital download of all the reproducible materials along with the manual, protocols to implement it online if need be. Okay, that's the In Shape program. So you got sport and In Shape. Now we've got variations of sport and In Shape. We've got the vaping PPW program, that's e-cigarette. There's the 3 versions, high school, middle school, elementary school version manuals. There's the marijuana PPW program in 3 versions, high school, middle school, elementary school. There's, by the way, both marijuana and vaping PPW programs are adaptations of sport. Opioid PPW is actually an adaptation of In Shape, and notice it comes in versions for high-risk young women, high-risk young men, and adolescents. The adolescent version is in the middle. So let's take a look at all 3 of those together. These are all based on evidence-based practices, screening and brief intervention, created from sport or In Shape. Depending on which program, obviously they target different substances. Vaping targets e-cigarettes, marijuana targets cannabis, etc. They all are promoting physical activity, sports, breakfast, nutrition, sleep, stress control. All single session screening, brief interventions, all come with a manual with a digital download of reproducible materials, all based on the behavior image model. You could implement them in person, one-on-one, in a group, online. So again, very, very flexible, and you could reach all your youth if need be. Let me just check the Q&A here. Okay. All right. So what's after that? Well, it's the video program, the sport video program, as I mentioned earlier. It's sustainable, interactive. We took the sport program for adolescents and we took the manual and we put it into a very dynamic images of youth modeling these wellness behavior in a video format. So you show your video, it tells you, the video tells you to stop if you're going to collect a pre-test, stop if you're going to collect a post-test, stop and implement your screening survey, stop and implement your goal plan. It comes with the screening survey, goal plan, pre and post test, but it's in a video format. You don't need a manual. So it is a little bit easier to implement, but it still uses that 3-step PPW process of screening, feedback, and goal setting. So that's the sport program for adolescents in a video-based program. So that's our only program at this point in video-based. If you wanted one of our other programs in a video-based, you'd have to ask for us and we would consider creating that for you. Two other one-session programs, Racial Justice and In God's Image. Racial Justice addresses racial discrimination. In God's Image addresses spirituality factors for substance use. The Racial Justice PPW program targets those four things in yellow in the middle to the right: contemplating, observing, learning, and helping prevent racism and social inequity in the youth's life, community, school, and online. And In God's Image addresses spirituality, as well as health behaviors, avoiding substance use, increasing healthy eating, sleep, etc. And as I said before, IGI, In God's Image, is free. Lastly, to support all of these single session programs that we offer, we created this goal plan tracking program. It's an online tool. A lot of organizations have said they have real interest in this. This is brand new. And you put your students' names and emails into this program. Youth get notified by email, they log in, and then you could track them. Are they monitoring their goals that they set during your sport or your marijuana or your whatever PPW lesson you taught them? Are they monitoring their goals every day? Are they setting new goals every week? And so you could track them for up to a month online to see how they're doing. And this tool can really help youth develop self-regulation skills to start shaping their behaviors and creating some confidence in their, in their behavioral change process. So, and there's even an app here where students can, download an app, teachers can download an app. So it's a really good tool, and looking forward to seeing how this can help everybody in the future. That's the PPW Goal Plan Tracking Program. Now, let's take a look at one session PPW parent program. So what we did here is we took sport, in shape, vaping, marijuana, and opioid PPW, and we converted them into a single session training course for parents so that parents can provide the same positive image and behavior communications and goal setting with their youth at home that you could be providing through all of these single session youth programs. So that's what the parent PPW program is all about. You could train parents in a single session, an hour, 2 hours, 4 hours, whatever you want, give them information, give them tools, give them practice, and then get them to take that home, hand them those materials to take home to, again, reinforce the messages that you may be providing through your sport or your vaping or your marijuana or your opioid or whatever PPW program, okay? So the parent programs are a little different. They don't include a manual. They include on the bottom there, you can see number 1, 2, 3, PowerPoint training slides with notes as to how to present the slides. Number 2, instructor directions, step-by-step directions. And number 3, a parent guide that you can copy and hand the parents to take home to continue practicing and give them some ideas as to how to communicate and get their kids to set goals. So these PPW programs for parents, as I said, were adaptations of the original manual programs, and they're a single session, really good programs if you have parent groups. That's parent PPW programs. Now, how about our multi-session programs? We get 2 of them, a brand new one, Sport 3. It's a 3-lesson program, a lesson on alcohol, a lesson on marijuana, a lesson on e-cigarettes. So what we did was we took sport, we took marijuana PPW, we took vaping PPW, and we integrated them so that it flows very well from lesson 1 alcohol, lesson 2 marijuana, lesson 2 vaping, or you could, if you wanted to, do 2 of those 3 lessons if you wanted to, but you got 3 lessons there. We've got a high school, middle school, elementary school version for classroom, and we've got a version for implementing it to youth one-on-one. So brand new, if you have access to youth for 2 or 3 sessions, this is something to take a look at. It's Sport 3. And if you want to address more than alcohol, if you want to address alcohol and marijuana, or e-cigarettes and alcohol, marijuana, you got it there in Sport 3. Sport 2 is a little early. We created this earlier. It's a 6-session program. We got a high school, middle school, elementary school version, but it's a little bit different. It really, well, actually, I'm going ahead of myself. Let me show you. Here's Sport 3. There's the 3 versions, classroom versions. These are, the scripts to present this to 2 or more youth in a group setting. And again, here's the topics: lesson 1 alcohol, lesson 2 marijuana, lesson 3 vaping, e-cigarettes. All 3 of these lessons promote physical activity, sports, breakfast, nutrition, sleep, stress control. And again, these are in classroom versions and individual version manuals. Sport 2, again, high school, middle school, elementary school versions. These are the topics that Sport 2 addresses. 3 types of physical activity it promotes, 2 types of nutrition, healthy nutrition and monitoring food and calorie intake, and sleep and stress control. All of these are linked to avoiding alcohol, tobacco, and other drugs. So you've got Sport 2 is essentially a health education program. That's how we see it. And so you can address moderate intensity physical activity, vigorous physical activity, muscle strength. And you can implement all 6 of these. You can implement 5, 4, 3, whatever you want. So this is Sport 2. You've got more content here. Still all the same, whether it's Sport 2, Sport 3, or all of our other single session programs. Screening, feedback, goal setting is the process. In terms of implementation, I don't think there's a place where youth exist where PPW programs haven't been implemented across the nation and abroad. Again, because of their flexibility and they're scripted and their ease and their brevity, et cetera, and they're integrated in their positive messaging and behaviors. Parents love these, youth love these, providers love these, funding agencies, communities, organizations, very, very popular. And they're implemented in school and out of school and during school and in different classrooms and PE and sports and health education, social studies and lunch and then organizations, Boys and Girls Clubs, YMCAs, all kinds of, community organizations. Peer leadership. We've got a lot of organizations that will train youth to implement these programs to their same or younger age peers. Hospitals and clinics, sports and physical exams, faith-based organizations, juvenile justice, homes, college campuses, dorms, wellness, events and clinics and counseling. Very big, and as I mentioned once before, InShape is also being used in the U.S. military. I think some of our sport is being used with veterans, family members, children, etc. So just about everywhere you can think of, you can implement PPW programs. Let's take a look at our new media campaigns. We've got 4 of them. We've got marijuana. We've got sport, which addresses largely alcohol. We've got vaping, which addresses e-cigarettes, and opioids, of course, focuses on a non-medical use of opioid use. These are media campaigns. They ready to use. You got a ton of content. You've got both print materials, social media materials. You've got snippets you can cut and paste. You've got images. You've got videos. You've got PowerPoint slides in most of these to do community events. You've got media announcements. It's really, really a lot of material, and you could save you a ton of time and effort. You can tailor these materials. You can, whatever you want to do with them. You could add, you could delete. Really well, take a look at number 4 here. They're adapted from our manual programs and the behavior image model, but they also include a lot of other evidence-informed material from key locations like CDC, SAMHSA, and stuff. So again, they're an expanded version of our youth and parent programs. Number 5 shows that these media-based programs target myths of these substance use, risks, social norms, media influences, provide positive role models for youth and parents. And because they're from our programs, there's the health behavior screening and there's goal setting. And so we really, it's not just about increasing awareness in our media campaigns. We want to also have youth have their health behaviors made aware by screening surveys and setting goals to improve their health and avoid substance use. So, these materials also include an online pre and a post survey, so you can assess how well your media campaign worked in terms of influencing risk and protective factors and a whole range of health behaviors, not just substance use, but 5 substances, common substances: alcohol, marijuana, opioids, e-cigarettes, regular tobacco, and all these protective healthy behaviors: physical activity, breakfast, nutrition, etc. Really, really good survey to assess your program. So each of these programs have different materials. Here's the marijuana PPW program. And there's page 1, and there's a whole list. And you could read these on our website. Just go to preventionpluswellness.com, go to programs, and then you could click on the media PPW campaign, and you can see all these things. There's brochures, there's flyers, there's tips, there's handouts, there's press releases that you could implement in one day or multiple days. There's enough material here for weeks or months, depending on how you roll it out. You can have your youth group help you with this, because they could be involved in the social media part. They're experts in that. You could have them help you with that. So this is really, really a good tool, these media campaigns. That's page 1. Here's page 2. So a lot of good topics, as you can see. There's material for youth, material for parents and others, addressing marketing. There's PowerPoint slides that have community or school events. And again, built into this, screening surveys, goal plans, pre-post surveys to evaluate your media campaign. Okay. So, and lots of social media clips, and they're taken right out of the PPW manual. So you're going to be promoting healthy behaviors. You're going to be increasing awareness and preventing substance use. That's the marijuana campaign. Then there's the sport media campaign, which addresses alcohol. Here's page 1 of the content. They parallel each other, but obviously there's differences. Certainly the content is different. Underage drinking, myth versus facts. So lots and lots of good stuff. Here's page 1. Here's page 2. And that's the sport alcohol PPW media campaign created from the sport program. Here's the vaping e-cigarette media campaign. Again, not just from the vaping PPW program, but also integrating all this extra content from CDC, SAMHSA, et cetera. Really good information about vaping harms, risks, et cetera, myths, so forth. There's page 1 of all the materials on vaping, e-cigarette, PPW media campaign. Here's page 2. What's Juul informatic, et cetera. And then lastly, the opioid PPW media campaign. Here's page 1 of all the materials, banners and posters, and opioid facts and so forth. And here's page 2 materials. So want to learn more, just go to our website. We do have a sample, I think, of one of our media campaigns we could send you. By the way, we could send you a sample of, I think, just about anything of our programs. Just email us at info@preventionpluswellness.com. info at preventionpluswellness.com. Say, hey, I'd like to see a sample of the sport high school program, and we'll email you that. Let's take a look at what we offer in terms of professional training. We've got a number of offerings. Our most popular is number one. We have a relatively new online self-paced training. It takes about 2 hours approximately, but it's self-paced. So you might get it done in an hour, you might get it done in 3 hours. It depends on how quickly you complete it, and you could leave it and come back, and it's very, very flexible. It's interactive. You get narration, you get images, you get, and you get your manual, and it walks you through the manual. It helps you go through the manual, understand your manual, understand the script, understand how to evaluate your program, etc. So really, really good training. That's the online self-paced training, program training. And we also have our original training, number two, the live training is a little more expensive. It's also about 2 hours, but we can do that live online through Zoom, like we're doing this. But we can do that as a training format. Number three, we can come to your location, and we can do, usually when we do that, we train program implementers, and then at the end, a subset will train as trainers. So we do have the train the trainer. That usually is done either online or in person. It takes an hour or two at most. And again, under number four, we do in-person training. We do the train the trainer number three, actually live online in 1 or 2 hours. So here's the sequence. You get trained as an implementer in person or online. You implement your program one time, and then you could hop back online with us, and we could train you as a trainer and give you the materials, and then you could train other providers and youth in your organization, in your region, to implement your PPW programs. We also have these free webinars that we've been providing very often. Okay, that's some of our training that we offer, professional training. Here's a little bit more information about the online self-paced training. You gain knowledge, you gain confidence, you gain skills to provide your program with quality, with fidelity, with effectiveness. So really, really important to get some kind of training. And it's very brief because your programs are brief, they're scripted, so you don't need lengthy training. And again, training is about 2 hours for an implementer, an hour or two for a trainer. This online self-paced training, you get 14 days to get through your training, but it only takes 2 hours. So most people hop online and they're done in no time. And all these trainings come with a certificate. Program implementer training is good for 3 years, and you're able to implement your program as a program implementer with that certification for 3 years. Same with train the trainer, it's a 3-year training. And we can do that online, and you can really help expand your program by training others, whether those be other professionals or staff or youth. The only downside to that is the people you train need to have a manual. So you have to buy them a manual, they have to purchase a manual. That's the only side note to that. You could train everybody for free, but they have to have a manual. That's where this comes in, the 3-year unlimited program. So we actually have a license, the first one, the unlimited program license, and we have an unlimited training license. But the unlimited program license, you actually get a PDF of the manual, and you could make unlimited copies of the manual. So let's say you're trained as a trainer, and then you make copies of the manual, and you could distribute those to your organization in your region, and you could really expand your PPW footprint by doing that. So, because you can make unlimited copies of your manual, you get your digital download, you're ready to go. And this is 3 years. You can make as many copies, dozens, hundreds, doesn't matter. And then even after 3 years, you own those manuals, so they're yours. You get a discounted price on any upgrades we might have. A really cost-effective way if you really want to reach a large area, a whole school district, a whole county. We got a whole Hawaiian island doing it, etc. So it works really well. And then if you get some people trained as trainers, then this is very efficient. Or you can order this unlimited training, online training license, and then you could send any number of your staff and students to hop online and get trained. So if you order the unlimited program. You can make copies of the manuals, unlimited training. They could hop online and get trained, and you could really have a huge impact in your region and a huge reach by these 3-year unlimited licenses. So more information on the left, there's our catalog, electronic catalog. Click on it and take you to all we have to offer, or most of the things we have to offer. And then on the right, like I said, you could just send us a request for any sample you want to see, or again, info@preventionpluswellness.com. There it is on the bottom, info@preventionpluswellness.com, and say, hey, I'd like to see a sample of your marijuana elementary school program, and we'll email you that. Okay. So preventionpluswellness.com is our website. 904-472-5022 is our phone number here in St. Augustine. So that is the quick review of all we have to offer, and in a format I think that makes sense and is easier to understand what we provide for prevention and health specialists throughout the country. Do you have any questions? Do you have any comments? Do you want to say anything? Right now is the time to do it. We're going to take a couple minutes, click on the chat space, click on the Q&A, and this is your time right now. We'll see if anybody has anything they want to ask me. I'm happy to stay with you as long as you want. So back in the Q&A, we had Lydia asking that question about our programs in Spanish. I answered that. That was a great question. And now it's time for any other questions or comments that you might have. Remember, everybody who's registered will get a link to this recorded session, a PDF of these slides, and a certificate. If you viewed it, the certificate for one CEU. So don't need to email me about that, by the way. You'll get that. If you don't get it, check your spam folder, because the attachments, it's likely it's sent to your spam if you don't see it in your inbox. Okay, I don't see any questions. Here we go. Here's somebody sending me a chat. Thank you, Anita. Thank you very much for attending. Anita, you're awesome. God bless you and all of you for listening and for all you do for children and youth and young adults and families in the communities. It's an honor to spend time with you. Do enjoy your summer. Do be safe and take care. And please, if we can help in any way, do reach out to us at preventionpluswellness.com. And we'll be having more webinars on and off. We're going to conferences. We're going to have some vacations, so it won't be every week as typical, but check in on us. If you haven't dropped in your name and email in our website, please do that so you can stay up to date with what we're offering. Megan says on the bottom there, do you have a way of tracking if another organization has already purchased it? Yes, we have. Certainly we have. Well, let me know what you're thinking of, Megan. I mean, we can go back to our records and see if you're looking for a particular type of an organization, or maybe an organization from your region. By the way, on our website, if you're interested in knowing, who's using and how is it being used, you can go to our website, preventionpluswellness.com. And I think under the heading of About Us, there's a link on a whole bunch of organizations that have our programs listed on their website. So you might be interested in that. Then also, if you scroll down on our main page, there's a whole page on success stories from organizations from throughout the country. And so you might be interested in that. So there's something for you to look at. Okay, that would be locations close to Wisconsin. So we have some people in Wisconsin using our programs. We have people in, from different states in the Midwest as well using our programs. So shoot me an email if you don't mind, Megan. So I have your email, and I could look and see if there's anybody in the area. But like I said, go to our website, look under About Us, click on that link, and you'll see dozens of organizations from throughout the country, and I'm sure some from the Midwest, that are using our programs. I don't know about Wisconsin. I know some are from Wisconsin. I take note of that because guess what? I am originally a Wisconsin boy. I'm a product of Wisconsin. So you'll never be able to take a cheese curd out of my hand. I can tell you that right now. So thank you guys for your wonderful questions and comments. If I could help, email me at info@preventionpluswellness.com or give us a call at 904-534-5107. Oh, 904-472-5022. 904-472-5022. Have a great day, everyone. Thanks for joining. Bye-bye, everyone.